At the end of your life, can you truly say you've lived by the values you set for yourself? It's a powerful question Marcus Aurelius poses in his personal reflections. There's an intensity in how he holds himself accountable, repeating the ideals he wants to embody, reaffirming what he believes is right. And importantly, he reminds himself that it's never too late to change, to start living more consciously. No matter where you are in life, the chance for transformation is always present. What's fascinating is that these profound insights come from Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor. He never intended for his meditations to be shared with the world. They were personal reflections, his own guidebook for navigating life. Yet, in this deeply personal practice, he touched on ideas so universal that they resonate through time, offering principles we can all follow. As a writer and thinker, I've spent years delving into Stoicism and how it shapes our understanding of life's challenges. And I've had the privilege of speaking with everyone from NBA stars to military leaders and government officials about how these timeless teachings can help guide us. Today, I want to share 25 life-changing principles that Marcus himself lived by. Lessons from a true philosopher king. One of the most powerful exercises Marcus recommends is creating your own epithets, descriptors of who you aspire to be. Words like honest, brave, generous, or calm can serve as daily reminders of the character you want to embody. I've done this myself, choosing words that resonate with my personal values: honesty, calmness, fairness, bravery, generosity, and stillness. These words are not just aspirations, they are actions I strive to take every day, guiding my decisions and shaping my actions. What Marcus teaches us is that doing good is its own reward. He believed in doing the right thing, not for the praise or recognition, but because it's the right thing to do. In his meditations, he reminds us that expecting recognition or thanks for our good actions is a trap. The true satisfaction lies in knowing you acted in accordance with your values. Everything else, the recognition, the applause, should be seen as a bonus, not the purpose. We often get caught up in seeking external validation, the third thing, as Marcus calls it. The third thing is the desire for acknowledgement, for someone to say, "You did well." But Stoicism teaches us to let go of that desire. Do the right thing simply because it is right. If recognition comes, great. If not, that's okay too. It should never be the driving force behind your actions. One of the most striking thoughts Marcus shares in his meditations is about our tendency to care more about the opinions of others than our own. He writes, "We love ourselves more than other people, yet we care more about their opinions than our own." How often do we sacrifice our own judgment to please others or avoid criticism? I've faced this dilemma myself. When my first book on Stoicism didn't make the bestseller list, I had to remind myself that my judgment of my work mattered more than anyone else's. External success or failure doesn't define you. It's your internal compass, your own standards, that are truly significant. The idea of tying our success to the approval of others is, as Marcus points out, a form of madness. We often let others dictate our sense of worth, whether it's how we dress, where we live, or what we like. Marcus urges us to find peace in our own choices, to stop looking to others for validation. True sanity comes from attaching our self-worth to our own actions and decisions. A key insight Marcus offers about criticism and praise is to accept it without arrogance and let it go without attachment. Whether you're praised or criticized, don't let it affect your sense of self. Don't identify with the external accolades or the critiques. Your character, your integrity, that's what defines you, not the fleeting opinions of others. For me, one of the most enduring lessons Marcus teaches is that success isn't about accumulating wealth or power. It's about protecting your character. As the philosopher and sage Seneca puts it, "What does it profit a man to gain the whole world but lose his soul?" For Marcus, it didn't matter how many victories he won or territories he conquered. What mattered was whether he remained true to himself and acted with virtue. We can see this clearly in the story of Marcus's life. Even as the most powerful man in the world, he faced betrayal and adversity. But he never let these challenges cause him to stray from his moral compass. He always returned to the principle that revenge, for example, only degrades you to the level of your enemy. The best revenge, he said, is not to be like your enemy. When wronged, don't seek to get even or become consumed by bitterness. Instead, rise above it. Ultimately, Marcus's greatest contribution to philosophy wasn't just in what he wrote, it was in how he lived. He showed the world that a powerful person, even an emperor, could be good, decent, and virtuous. He demonstrated that leadership doesn't require abandoning integrity. In fact, leadership requires it. Marcus Aurelius understood that life could be fleeting, and that the key to a fulfilled life was not in external achievements, but in living according to our highest principles. He struggled, just like we do, with the tension between internal peace and external pressures. His meditations are a record of his efforts to rise above those pressures, to remain grounded in virtue and character. And through that, he offers a timeless reminder. It's not too late to start living with intention, to choose integrity over praise, and to define your life by the values that matter most to you. As you go about your own life, I encourage you to reflect on Marcus's words and begin crafting your own epithets. Choose the qualities you want to embody and live by them every day. Remember, no matter where you are in life, it's never too late to begin shaping the person you want to become. Marcus Aurelius, despite the many betrayals and injustices he faced, never let anger or resentment consume him. He took these hardships as opportunities, not just for personal growth, but to show others how one can rise above betrayal and internal strife. He made it clear that allowing someone else's wrongs to turn you into something you're not is the true defeat. Even when faced with immense challenges, he chose to remain steadfast in his principles, refusing to let the chaos around him dictate who he became. When Marcus wrote in Meditations, it was never meant for public eyes. It was a private journal, a dialogue with himself. In fact, he might have been mortified to know that centuries later, people are still reading and learning from it. His reflections weren't crafted with others in mind. They were his own practice, his way of talking to himself and processing the world around him. This is why journaling, self-reflection, and internal dialogue are so crucial in our lives. They shape who we become, not just in the moment, but in how we respond to life's challenges over time. One of the profound points Marcus touches on in his writings is the idea of fortune. He understood that true fortune isn't external, it's internal. It's not about the things that happen to us, but about our reactions to them. The choices we make, the character we cultivate, and the actions we take all determine our fortune. True success, Marcus believed, comes from having a good heart, good intentions, and acting with integrity. And just like all of us, Marcus struggled. He often found it difficult to get out of bed, to face another day. But he understood that life isn't about comfort. It's about doing what we were meant to do. The resistance, the discomfort, the desire to stay cozy in bed, those are the forces we must push against to become who we're meant to be. He recognized that success doesn't come from waiting for the right moment, but from seizing the day. As Seneca also said, the one thing all fools have in common is that they're always getting ready to begin. One of the key lessons from Marcus is that it's not just about the work we do, it's about how we engage with our space, our environment, and the people around us. By surrounding ourselves with things that remind us of our virtues, whether it's a physical object, a piece of art, or even the people who inspire us, we create an environment that constantly nudges us towards who we want to be. It's not just about success, it's about living according to your highest principles. And in embracing discomfort, like the cold plunge, Marcus would have understood this concept well. Life is full of challenges, and the more we face them head-on, the stronger we become, mentally, physically, and spiritually. It's the discomfort that molds us into better versions of ourselves, just as the cold plunge strengthens the body. Every challenge, every struggle, is a step towards becoming who we're meant to be. Finally, Marcus's greatest hero was his adopted father, Antoninus Pius. Even though Antoninus never wrote down his philosophy, he embodied Stoic virtues in the way he lived his life. Marcus, however, had to work at it. He had to write meditations to remind himself of the principles he aspired to live by. In that way, Marcus wasn't unlike any of us. We all struggle. We all fall short. But the key is to keep going, to rise each time we fall, and to come back stronger and more committed to our purpose. As Lord Acton famously said, power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. But true power comes from within, the ability to rise, to stick to what's right, and to stay true to our deepest values, no matter the circumstances. The power of Stoicism, how Marcus Aurelius defied corruption and stayed true to himself. The old saying, "Power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely," has been a guiding principle for centuries. It suggests that those who hold great power are inevitably led astray, corrupted by it. Yet, there's one striking exception to this rule: Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor. What's truly remarkable about him is how he defied this very notion. When Marcus was given absolute power, what did he do? He shared it. He gave half of his authority to his stepbrother. Rather than being consumed by the allure of power, he chose to lead with humility and wisdom. His ability to avoid the corruption of power is a testament to the strength of Stoic philosophy and the transformative potential it has on an individual. In his personal writings, Meditations, Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself not to be Caesarified, not to fall victim to the intoxicating effects of fame, money, and power. For him, Stoicism was more than just a philosophy, it was a lifeline that grounded him. And in a world where status, wealth, and authority often define one's worth, his lessons are more relevant than ever. We often find ourselves in situations where external success, popularity, or achievement can shift our focus. With every new promotion, follower, or recognition, it's easy to get swept up in the idea that we're special or above the rules. But Marcus reminds us, you're not special. Power doesn't change the rules. It only reveals who you truly are. And in Marcus's case, it revealed a man who remained unwavering in his commitment to virtue and integrity. One of the things Marcus didn't write much about in Meditations was happiness or joy. But that doesn't mean he didn't experience them. It's simply that these were not his struggles. Instead, he was more focused on the things he needed help with, the struggles of power, ambition, anger, and mortality. For example, he didn't need to remind himself that a soft, luxurious bed was more comfortable than a hard one. But he did need to remind himself that, while fleeting pleasures like sex might feel good in the moment, they could lead to complications and regrets later. These reflections weren't about chasing happiness, but about managing his desires and making better choices. When we read Meditations, we often see Marcus confronting challenges that many of us face today: betrayal, stress, manipulation, and even personal disappointment. Yet, in these very writings, Marcus never complains. Not once does he lament about the challenges of being unappreciated or overburdened. He doesn't even express anger at being wronged. Instead, he uses these experiences as opportunities to reaffirm his Stoic beliefs. We should never be overheard complaining, not even to ourselves, he advises. This echoes the idea that Stoics, instead of dwelling on what's wrong, focus on what they can control, their own thoughts and actions. One of Marcus's most memorable pieces of advice is to concentrate like a Roman. When you approach any task, no matter how small, give it your full attention as if it were the last thing you would do in life. This isn't just about efficiency, it's about living with presence and meaning. Every moment is an opportunity to be fully engaged, whether you're sending an email, having a conversation, or making a video. Imagine treating every task like it matters deeply. That's the Stoic standard. It would be a mistake to view Marcus Aurelius as perfect. He wasn't. He was human, just like us, filled with flaws and struggles. Meditations isn't a collection of perfect wisdom. It's a personal journal, a set of reminders to himself, written down when he most needed them. When Marcus warns against being quick-tempered, fearing death, or becoming too ambitious, he isn't lecturing the world. He's talking to himself, reminding himself of what he needs to improve. And that's the real beauty of Stoicism. It's not about being perfect. It's about striving to be better every day, no matter where you are in life. In one poignant passage from Meditations, Marcus reflects on how, at the end of his life, he still hadn't mastered the things he most needed to. You're still weighed down, still turbulent, still convinced that external things can harm you, still rude to others. But he doesn't stop there. He reminds himself that it's never too late to improve. He stresses that no matter where you are, no matter how late it feels, it's never too late to turn your life around and live according to virtue. The essence of Marcus's life and teachings can be distilled into two simple yet powerful principles: good character and acts for the common good. For Marcus, these were the guiding lights of his life. Seneca, another great Stoic, often spoke about how the greatest empire is the one that lies within self-command. Marcus understood this better than most. Yes, he commanded an empire, but the real challenge wasn't ruling over others, it was ruling over himself. The real power, the one that Stoics sought, was the ability to control one's emotions, actions, and desires. There are no stories of Marcus losing his temper or harming others in a fit of rage. Unlike the infamous stories of Emperor Hadrian's outbursts, Marcus's power wasn't just external, it was internal. He knew that true control was not about commanding armies or making the Senate obey. The real power lay in mastering himself. As Seneca put it, no one is fit to rule unless they first have command over themselves. Meditations isn't a comprehensive philosophy book. It's a personal diary of Marcus's struggles, reminders, and reflections. His writings don't tackle every philosophical dilemma. Instead, they focus on what mattered most to him: his mortality, his temper, his ambition, and his pursuit of wisdom. And that's what makes them so powerful. Like Marcus, we all have our struggles. And just like him, we can use Stoicism to confront them, not by complaining, but by focusing on what we can control and striving for a life of good character and purpose. So when you face your own challenges, remember to approach them like a Roman. Concentrate, control, and continue to grow.